Life and Time Spotlight. I'm your host, Chike Nweke. Life and Time Spotlight is a television magazine program that will come to your homes every 2 weeks. In these programs, we're going to bring you success stories of our people, our fellow compatriots that are doing great things in their choosing professions. In philanthropy, in business, in education, people whose lives and whose stories are inspiring that will take you to greater heights. Welcome to Life and Time Spotlight. I'm your host, Chike Nweke. In this edition of Life and Time Spotlight, we're going to focus on a problem that has become of an almost epidemic proportion within our community. I am talking about the problem of divorce and separations amongst our couple. And today we've gathered a panel of 4 distinguished ladies and gentlemen to discuss this problem. On my right is Dr. Dikpo Kalejaye. Dr. Kalejaye is the pastor of International Christian Center, also known as ICC Los Angeles. Dr. Dikpo is married happily to his wife of 20 years, Dr. Noni Kalejaye. Next to Dr. Dikpo is Mrs. Amaka Ada Akudunobi. Mrs. Akudunobi has been married for 22 years to her husband, Dr. Jude Akudunobi, and she is a practicing family law attorney in California for the last 19 years. On my left is Dr. Daniel Musa. Dr. Musa is an administrator and entrepreneur, and Dr. Musa has been happily married for 32 years to his wife, the lovely Rebecca Musa. And last but certainly not the least is Mrs. Yinka Adenoro, educator, and has been happily married for the last 90 years to her husband, Femi. Mrs. Akudunobi, as a family law attorney, how do you see the incidence of divorce and separations in our community? How bad is the problem?
Thank you for the question. Within the last couple years, I will say it's become more rampant. It's become more common to go into the courthouses and see on court calendars Nigerian names, or to see Nigerians on the corridor of the courthouse. The question that one will then ask is why? What are the causes of these divorces, separations, or marital conflicts? Obviously, there is no one answer to that, but it's been my experience that there are multiple causes. But most importantly, the fact that we are in a culture, that we live in a culture that is completely different from our culture, from the way and most of us were raised. The pressures of the community we all find ourselves have affected a lot of the marriages. And the fact that we also don't have the same support network like you would have in Nigeria or from any other, other communities that we may have all come from.
Dr. Dikpo, you pastor a large congregation, and you join a lot of couples in marriage, and you also do a lot of marriage counseling. What do you hear is the cause of the problems?
Yes, I've been privileged to counsel many couples in the past 21 years. And there is something I can say that is common to all of them. Seems to me that couples do not have a an understanding or the correct or accurate understanding of what love is. But because they don't understand that the very core of life is love, and they have no understanding of what it is, there's always a problem, and people want to divorce when the marriage begins to get rocky.
Dr. Musa, you've been married to your wife for 32 years, Rebecca, and you have successfully raised 3 children, grown children here in Southern California. So you're not one of the statistics. What is your secret?
Thank you very much, Chike, for this important question. As we've been discussing about marriage, marriage is indeed a very important subject. Marriage itself is as old, the institution of marriage is as old as man. And marriage is also very controversial. If you look at the news, the media, if you look at the current affairs, you hear all sorts of things about marriage. Now, both Rebecca and myself are Christians. And so our faith comes into play. We are not the best couples. We are the worst of sinners. Like somebody said, Apostle Paul. And so because of that, we depend on God to lead us through this. We have used a lot of principles. I will, because of time problem, I will try to mention just a few. See, the first and foremost is the fact that we rely on God, and God is the center of our family. We dedicated ourselves and our family to God. And so we communicate all the time with God. There are 2 versions of communication here. First of all, we communicate verbally, vertically with God, asking God. He teaches us, He shows us, He leads us, He controls us. And we also communicate horizontally, whereby we discuss things together. And like I said earlier, we are not the best of couples. Being a Christian doesn't mean that you are immune to difficult things such as anger, sin, suffering, etc. And so we have to sit and discuss. Why do we do that? Because 2 of us wants to go ahead in spite of all odds. And so we are discussing together in order to find the cause root of the problem, just like a lawyer would like to find the issue. And when we find the issue, then we try to solve the issue. And in applying this, we use patience, we use love, and we respect each other. We make sure we understand each other. These are some of the principles. And I believe that even if you are not of my faith, there are principles here that will help you in your marriage.
Thank you, Dr. Musa. What you have said is so profound. And I think I'm not going to let this hang without reverting to Dr. Dikbo to see if he has anything to say.
The foundation, namely that God is love, and the only reason why you are here on planet Earth is to love, to be like God, to love like God is love. He created us to be object of His love, and He wants us, or He wants